What is God? Video 3. In this video I'd like to explore the history of God. Now I'm not going to be able to explore the history of God exactly. It's not possible to investigate what God was doing at such and such a time and in such and such a place. Because God's beyond time and space. And God's also changeless. Now the best way to look at the history of God is to ask the question, is the way that people thought of God the same throughout the ages? Is the way that people think of God now, in our current era, the same as the way people thought of God 100 years ago, or 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago? And the answer is not exactly. Although it may be true that people have always had a belief in God, the way that they thought of God has not always been the same. And it's not a case that our distant ancestors believed in God in one way, and then throughout the ages, through the processes of time, that this concept of God has evolved to the way we believe in it nowadays. It's not a linear process. Such a process would be scientific. The idea of God is more like an art, intrinsically integrated into our experience of life. When we look at art at different times in history and in different cultures, we can see that commentaries were made using art on different aspects of life: love, loss, suffering, pain, growth, and other themes related to our life experience. Yet the way that the art is used at different times in history and in different cultures can be very, very different. And so the same is true of our concept of God. This is what the history of God looks like. It's in direct relationship to the people who are worshipping Him and what they're experiencing in their lives at that time. Now I'd like to make mention of Karen Armstrong, a theologian who's written extensively about God, how God has been worshipped, and the origins of religions and how they've been practiced throughout the ages. And the reason I'm doing so is because some of the points which I've made reference to in this video have been inspired by her work. So if this is a theme which is of interest to you, maybe you'd like to look up her work for yourself.